When there's something weird going on in the museum at night, you know exactly who to call. Greetings, dear viewer. Join us on a hair-raising journey through today's bone-chilling Pokemon feature, the Haunted Museum. So Pokemon Masters has recently added their Halloween event for the year, and after seeing who they chose for the seasonal sync pairs, I'm about to lose all my gems. So the story begins with Roxanne and Lenora setting up a museum exhibit for the inhabitants of Pasio. With the help of Lear, they have artifacts from across the world, though there have been sounds of sobbing heard in the halls at night, and it's decided they need to investigate a potential haunting before things open to the public. As they're about to begin their investigation, they meet up with Phoebe, who says she feels as if she's being called out to. Apparently a voice is coming from the museum, and that's very convenient. So they decide to bring her along, which is a great idea to have somebody who actually knows a thing or two about ghost types. In fact, when it comes to most ghost type trainers in Pokemon, I'd say that when it comes to actual knowledge and experience, she might be the most qualified, having a family lineage of spiritual trainers, with her grandmother being the caretaker of Mount Pyre, and the fact that there's actually just a ghost in her room at the Pokemon League. Also, we get a better idea of how she's able to sense the unseen in her sync pair story when we see that both her and Dusclops are looking for wandering spirits in the forest. We just actually get to see her do more ghost-related things in her video game portrayals. Inside the museum, they don't find much at first, but there's a moment that pans the camera down towards Phoebe's feet. Anyway, not long after, they find a little girl crying by herself. Apparently, she got lost while playing hide-and-seek with her friends, and even though she appears to be a regular little girl at first, I think the astute players know what's going on. Especially because we just get a lot of moments of Phoebe silently looking at the ghost girl, we can tell that she senses something. Eventually, they do find her friends, which turn out to be a Cofagrigus and a Runerigus, who were brought in as artifacts for the exhibit. Though I've never really thought of that before, but I guess it could be possible for these Pokemon to just be lying around and picked up as if they were a sarcophagus and a stone slab. I'm pretty sure we saw a plot very similar to that in one of the episodes of the Black and White anime. If you'd like to see me talk about that episode, maybe I'll throw it on the list of Halloween stuff to discuss later. Anyway, we get a happy ending as the girl is rescued, the mystery of the crying is solved, and these lonely Pokemon are all reunited. And now the museum can open up, but not before they all join everyone else outside during the festivities. The little girl disappears, and through her POV, we learn that she was definitely a ghost the entire time, and was in the museum to look out for Cofagrigus and Runerigus, who are now in the care of Roxanne and Phoebe. And then she ascends to the afterlife, I guess, that's what it looks like is happening here. One of the ghost girls in the Pokemon franchise that actually gets some closure in a nice way, rather than vanishing without a trace or having some history that makes her death very tragic. But really, I'm just trying to figure out why so many different ghosts in Pokemon have been little girls. Overall, a nice story, though I don't know how I would say it stacks up compared to some of the others in previous years. It is cool that we get a little epilogue with the two trainers learning more about their new Pokemon. I'm especially a fan of how Roxanne, as well as the other nerds, are super fascinated with Runerigus. They even mentioned that because it's a Pokemon made from a clay slab with all these runes on it, it's basically a living historical artifact. I've already gone over Runerigus in the past, and it's a pretty fun little rabbit hole to dive into. Meanwhile, Cofagrigus wants to eat one of Lear's gold statues. I do really love how Roxanne and Phoebe's outfits match these Pokemon. They were wearing these costumes before they even met their new ghost-type Pokemon, but they're generic enough that you could believe they just had them on hand for the holiday that totally isn't Halloween, but basically is. Having Roxanne be a witch is a great way to tie into the more European mythology that Runerigus is based off of, as opposed to its counterpart. But this witch outfit is also great for her because it has a pretty similar shape to her default schoolteacher look. Phoebe's clothing is meant to vaguely resemble ideas of Egyptian royalty to match with Cofagrigus, but again, they're really able to keep similar feelings to her original outfit. So their overall shape and type of clothing isn't all that different, but when you see them both next to their new Pokemon, it all clicks very nicely. As a Hoenn fanboy, I'm really happy that these two were chosen, and I think that they were woven into the story in a great way. The setting of a haunted museum mystery is the perfect way to unite both Roxanne and Phoebe. So let me know what you thought about this year's event and which new sync pair you like best. Personally, I've always really loved Phoebe, and it's great to see her doing even more in this game. Though the scariest thing about this is the fact that I haven't got her yet and I'm out of gems. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, especially the great Gators. Actual Clown, Black Ice, Cheeseburger Lasers, Don V. Ferrar, Dunkachino II, Eevee, Jen Eric, Justin R, Cosmo Zero, Lil Swiss, Meme Supreme, Nathan Boyts, Nomad Nobi, Oleg Studios, Phantom, Pio the Genius, Quago, Tajirai, Viz, Volity, and Pastel Blood. If you would like to support, get your name shouted out here as well as access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter as well for more memes. Anyway, this has been GatorX. Thank you for joining our feature presentation, and I'll catch you all later.
Watch Ash, Pikachu, and the gang take on some of the best Pokemon Masters around.
You asked for it!
Stop by for Pokemon Advanced Challenge, starting Monday at 5. Gotta catch 'em all on Magoozy, only on Cartoon Network.